And so here we have both Skip and Shannon with the Russell Westbrook comparison with Derrick Rose. And, this comparison has been made over the years. I believe they both came out the same year, as they alluded to in the clip, the '08 season. And, if you watch both of their games, you can definitely see similarities. Both have a somewhat unconventional style or approach to the game. Both, extremely athletic. And I would say that they've relied more so on their athleticism than their actual raw basketball talent. They've had to pretty much hone that as they've gotten to the league. And you'll see some players who come into the league with a certain set of fundamental skills because they have not had the luxury of relying on athleticism. But in Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook's case, the opposite is true. And so here, I think it's important to note that you play a dangerous game when you compare yourself to other people. Now, of course, there are similarities that we share with others, and those similarities may lead us to see where they are in life compared to where we are in life, and want to make changes to our life to mirror them because we have a certain level of envy toward them. And so it's definitely, not an issue to have an individual that you model certain things about your life after, or that you admire in them, and you want to see yourself do those things or accomplish those things, but you got to know your own value. And so here we see externally people putting a comparison on to individuals, which can be dangerous if said individuals are weak-minded and not able to process exactly what the situation is, meaning that the media has a job. The media's job is to create sound bites or video clips that become viral, become popular, and are talked about beyond the show. And so with Russ and Derrick Rose, again, similarities definitely there. Yeah, both have an erratic, almost Tasmanian devil-like approach to the game. Both have already paid for it with injury to their knees and their lower extremities. But I don't think it's fair to ever compare two people. Situations are different. Psychologies are different. It's just two different people. So I think it's always unfair to do so, but I get it. I just wanted to point out that it's important that we understand the reason why comparisons are made, and we should be careful not to fall into that trap ourselves.
But the knee injury and then the ankle injuries, and it was always something, Skip, that just robbed him. And he can give you flashes. Now, I don't know if this is an outlier, not 50. But, Skip, we've seen it even in Cleveland. You remember last year in Cleveland, Skip, when LeBron went to, they played the Wizards in D.C., and LeBron went for that 57.
Yep.
He had like 25, 26 points.
You also came in here a lot of mornings and you were not happy.
No. And all the fans, they were cheering him. I wonder if they're going to still be cheering him when all of a sudden he don't show up and he's supposed to be there. And he got dreads now and he come back with a fade. Will they still be cheering him then, Skip? Because we know there's some times that he's a very mercurial person. He can just disappear and he'll call you from wherever he is like, I ain't going to be able to make it. Bro, we done played 3 games. What you talking about you're not going to be able to make it?
All right, so you know, this guy Shannon, man. I've definitely enjoyed, being entertained by this minstrel, this guy Shannon Sharp. And of course, let me back up and say minstrel, meaning entertainer. I'm not making any allusion just because he's a black man. And we know the history of that word and its use towards black entertainers. But the word means entertainer. So what you'll see or notice from any content that I put out, I don't shy away from anything, and I use words the way that they were intended to be used. I don't care about how the world or certain groups have used words. I'm going to use the word the way it was defined and the way it was intended to be used in its proper context. So yeah, he's a minstrel, as is Skip Bayless, as is, everybody that you see on TV, these athletes included. They're all entertainers. They're all put here to entertain us, to distract us from our lives, from the world at large. And we'll get to that in other videos, but back to this clip. This guy, he begins his rant on Derrick Rose and, alluding to the fact that he's had history of leaving teams. I don't want to say unexpectedly, but he'll just up and leave a team, take some time for himself for what he says is his mental well-being. Sheridan said that he came back, he left with a fade, came back with dreads, or that he may do the opposite, leave with dreads and come back with a fade this time. And so, man, look, I'm not one to make light of anybody who is battling demons, in whatever form they manifest themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, and demons are real. Again, like I alluded to in that Habib and Connor analysis, if you don't believe in demons, keep rocking with your boy and you will. You definitely will be a believer. And so what I want you to really take away from this portion of the clip is that it is critically important that we never make light of the issues that others go through or that we go through. So if you're feeling a certain kind of way, if you're down, if you're depressed, if you know that something isn't right in your spirit, don't just shirk it. Don't just, push it to the side. Really pay attention to it. Really desire to resolve it. Because if you don't, it's just going to dovetail out of control. And before you know it, you'll make decisions that will be rash and dangerous and detrimental to yourself. And then the same for others. If you see it in other people, you definitely want to make it a point to go to them in confidence and tell them that you're there for them, that you notice this about them, and that you want to help them. Because listen, man, a lot of things happen because of little specks of angst or anxiety or hurt or pain or anger that manifests because it isn't addressed. Just like any kind of virus or cancer or tumor, it starts off small and then it metastasizes. And so you don't want to let anything fester to the point that it could explode. And so I think this was, good for TV, but I definitely have an issue with anybody poking fun at an individual who's battling, any kind of demons. And so again, man, I salute D Rose for being a stand-up guy throughout everything. His perseverance is definitely to be recognized and acknowledged.
I agree with you. I got caught up in it. I started watching maybe in the third quarter, and I could not turn it off because it was a fairy tale. It's just like impossible what he's doing and doing. And the truth is, when I watched LeBron and company play up there the other night at Minnesota, I would see the guy with dread score, and I'd say, who's? Oh, that's Derrick Rose. Oh, I forgot him. That's that guy. Yeah. Really?
So Skip Bayless also got caught up in the fairy tale. Again, think about the word fairy tale. What demographic is that term normally ascribed to or used by? Children. Children, or in some cases women. A lot of cases women who want a fairy tale romance or fairy tale marriage or fairy tale wedding. We let me dial it back for this video. We won't go there on women, but they'll definitely be addressed in other videos. So back to this. Again, man, language is key. Understanding the context behind the language is also key, probably even more so. Because I can say anything to you, but until you know the reason why I said it, you can't really fully digest what I said and respond to it and react to it. So why would you use that phrase? Again, they're not taking this guy seriously. You can even tell in Skip's tone and the way he referenced, not knowing it was Derrick Rose because of the dreads. again, man, don't let the world's view of you determine your view of yourself. That's really at the heart of what I want to cover. You're going to go through trials in life. You're going to go through tribulations, peaks, valleys, different seasons. But what you have to do, you must have a solid foundation. Now, for me, my solid foundation is spiritual. I believe in the God of the Holy Bible, Yahweh. And I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And so my foundation is A1, brother. It's solid. No matter what I go through, I understand that, first of all, I'm not alone. I'm not forsaken. And that I can overcome and tread through anything that comes my way. Not because of my own strength, but because of the strength that God provides and the peace that surpasses understanding that he gives me for trusting in him. And so, again, when you have a strong foundation, whatever that foundation is for you, my suggestion for you, my advice, my counsel is that you make sure that that foundation satisfies both your flesh and your spirit. And so that's why that's part of the reason why that I am a follower of Jesus Christ, a believer in the God of the Bible. That satisfies me here on earth, and it certainly satisfies me in the afterlife. And so I would definitely recommend that you have the same considerations for whatever you place as your foundation. But back to this clip by Skip Bayless. Know your worth. Know your value. Don't let it be determined by anything other than you and whatever your foundation is.
Do I think that Derek can keep this up? I don't.
No.
But do I think he could average, let's say he's averaging 14, could he average 18 a game? Would that be decent? Would that be reasonable?
Is Jimmy coming back? Because these shots that he got last night, some of those will be Jimmy shots.
That's 31 shots.
Right.
Yeah.
And Teague will be back.
Teague will take some shots.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I just don't know if the shots and the minutes are there. Skip, he can't play. He played 41 minutes. Can't play those kind of
I wonder
minutes.
how he feels right now. Right?
Hey, he might not can play the back-to-back. He might pull a Kawhi on Skip. And because he's so violent in his movement.
He's violent.
And so this last clip from Undisputed poses the question, can he sustain this? And I've already alluded to what my thoughts are regarding his sustainment probability for this season. Of course, nobody would be foolish enough to seriously consider that Derrick Rose can average 50 points a game or have a quote-unquote magical moment every game. Of course not. The point of this game was to let everybody who is a naysayer, a hater, a shade thrower know that he still got it. He's still in his bag. He still can put up buckets. He still can control and dominate the game of basketball on the highest level. That was what this game represented. It didn't symbolize the second coming of Derrick Rose and this is what you can expect from here on out. That's rubbish. That's, again, another soundbite grab. And so moving past that, you also heard the comment that he's so violent in his movement, and that brings up a noteworthy point regarding his explosiveness and how, again, I'll cover in the postscript that his body basically betrayed him from very early on. When you hear the word explosive, which no doubt has been attributed to him over the course of his career, you look up that word and you understand that a definition of it is likely to lead to violence or hostility. And you can see a certain violence and hostility and pent up anger in the way that he moves. Every step, every gallop, every part of his gait is violent, especially when he sets up to drive to that paint or he's on a fast break, And so I think that term is definitely apropos to describe him, and it can also give some insight into why he's suffered some of the injuries that he has. Another synonym for that word is unpredictable. So again, it's very unorthodox. His cutting, his leaping, the leg that he jumps off of, even the landing, it's all awkward to look at, but it was exciting because of his stature compared to what he was able to do. And so again, man, just a little bit of a glimpse into the life of a supremely athletic individual whose body really wasn't set up for him to be able to do the things that he was able to do.